Hey guys, Peter here. Welcome. This video is going to be all about chords. Okay, we're going to learn. We have a lot of chords we're going to go over today. We're going to go over major, we're going to go over minor, and we're going to include some extensions, seventh chords. We're going to talk about major seventh, minor seventh, and dominant seventh chords today. I noticed in my other videos I wanted to get to chords, but they were at the very end, and I couldn't. I didn't fit them into the time frame well enough that it makes sense. So this entire video is just strictly chords. Okay, we're gonna get all the way through, and hopefully by the end of it you'll be able to figure these out on your own. You'll be able to look at a piece of music, and even if you don't know the chord, you'll be able to count out what we call the half steps and do it all on your own. Okay, if you haven't already done so, please make sure you subscribe and hit that little notification bell. Make sure you guys get notification when I do release these videos. Also, please make sure you hit that thumbs up, okay, and like the video. Okay, let's get started with the lesson today. So, this is going to be all about chords. And so, the first things first, we need to talk about intervals. And that's important for this because we're going to use half steps and whole steps to be able to count these out. Okay, so what is a half step? We're going to talk about half steps first. What is a half step? Half step literally means the very next note. No matter which direction you go, half step up or half step down. Let's say I start on a C, and go ahead and play a C on your keyboard. If I ask you to move a half step up, we're going to move to the very next note to the right. And in this case, from C, the next note is a black key. Okay, if I have you keep going up a half step, we're just literally going to move to the very next note, next note, next note. From here, notice there's no black key, so it'll go to the white key. This is one exception where it will go from white to white as opposed to white to black. And okay, move up, it'll be a half step. Very next note down, the same thing. Start from C, we move one half step, one half step, one half step, one half step. Okay, just the very next note over. Okay, next thing we need to talk about is what a whole step is. Okay, whole step is two half steps. Instead of moving one note, I'm going to move 1, 2. I've now moved up a whole step from C. Let's do that again. From C, I say move up a whole step. I go 1, 2. Now I'm a whole step above. Go from D, 1, 2. I'm now a whole step above D. I'm on E. I go 1, 2 to do a whole step above E. Same thing moving down. C, if I move down a whole step, 1, 2. This is a whole step below C. Again, if I keep going, 1, 2, I'm a whole step below B flat, and so on and so forth. Okay, very important. We need to understand the half steps and whole steps relationships because that's what we're going to use to figure out the chords. Okay, I think this is just the way to do it for even the most beginning of piano players to understand how to find these chords. Instead of talking like minor thirds, major, that's just way too much. Just count half steps. Okay. Let's start with the first chord that we're going to analyze. Okay. And hopefully you've seen some of my other videos. I talk about this chord in particular with a couple other ones. This is our C chord, C, E, and G. And if you remember, I talk about in that, and we're going to talk about it now, is all chords are based on skips. Okay, what I mean by skips, we just talked about these half steps, right? I'm not talking about half steps and whole step skips. I'm talking about letter skips. C skips D to E, skips F to G. We've talked about that before. Okay, and if you don't understand that right now, perfectly okay. We're going to talk about using those half steps to figure out what these notes are. So for a major chord, okay, just like that, C major, we're going to start on the note. We're going to start on C, and we're going to count 4 half steps up. 1 half step, 2 half steps, 3 half steps, 4 half steps. See, we've created that E. Now, next we're going to count 3 more half steps to get to the next note. 1, 2, 3. Okay, to create any major chord, we're going to count 4 half steps and then 3. So this is our C major chord. Let's pick a random note now. Let's take E flat. Okay, find our E flat. And again, we're doing major. Okay? And if you see a major chord, it might just look like the letter. It might just say E flat or C. That means major. Okay, so if you just see a letter by itself, no matter what it is, it means major. E flat. Here we go. We're going to count 4 steps, 4 half steps, and then 3 half steps. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps. 3 more. 1, 2, 3. I have now created my E flat major chord. Okay? E flat, G, and B flat. Notice the letter skips. E flat skips F, G skips A, B flat. Notice I'm not saying A sharp because G to A is not a skip. So I have to say B flat. I have to analyze it as B flat. Here we go. Let's do C sharp. Okay, C sharp. We're going to count 4 up. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're not going to talk about what note this is yet. We're not going to talk about the letter name yet. We're going to count 3 more. 1, 2, 3. I have created now a C sharp major chord. Now, I didn't say this note because it's important. For a C chord, right, we need skips. C, E, G. But notice, I'm playing an F. We have to analyze this as some sort of E to make our skips work. Okay? This note that I'm playing is going to be technically called E sharp in order to make it work. Now, I say E sharp, right? And hopefully we've seen this before. E, if I want an E sharp, I raise it up, right, a half step. But this is the next note. So that is our E sharp. E sharp and F are what we call enharmonics of each other. Okay? Enharmonic, again, is, think about it this way. Same sound, what it sounds to you if you close your eyes, E sharp and F, they sound the same, but they're spelled differently and used in different contexts. An example I can give for you, and I always give this example if you've seen some of my other videos, is the words 2, 2, and 2. If I just ask you to spell 2, your question is, well, which one? Now, if I put it into context of a sentence, right, I have 2 feet. Now you know, okay, TWO, because you know the context, right? E sharp and F are the same sound, but in context of what it's around it, the C sharp major, we have to call it E sharp. Okay? A little bit tricky, but that's just a little bit of the theory behind it. And the theory can be a little bit confusing unless you give plenty of examples. Don't have time for that today, but just know and remember, C sharp is going to be C sharp, E sharp, and G sharp. Okay? Let's go ahead and go into, actually, let's do one more example of major. Let's do B major. We're going to count 4 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 3 more. 1, 2, 3. I have now created a B major, and notice the sound. It sounds very happy and bright, just like the other major chords. Okay? Practice this. Pick all of the keys. You have 12 keys between an octave, and then it repeats. Practice all 12 of them. Pause this video and practice all 12 of them. See if you can figure out. Let's go and do minor. Minor is going to be the exact opposite. And what you'll see in music is you'll see the letter, like let's say C, and then you'll see a lowercase m for C minor. Okay? C minor, what we're going to do is we're going to count 3 half steps now, and then 4. Just the opposite. Majors, we counted 4, and then 3. Minors, we're going to count 3, and then 4. Let's start with C. Let's practice our C. C minor. Counting 3. 1, 2, 3. Now 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. C minor. Now listen to the sound. It's a little bit, usually we kind of use the term like sad, like it's like more of a sad sound, as majors are happy and bright, sads are kind of sad and dark, right? Major, happy, bright, minor, sad, dark. You can use that as an example, but use that as a sound to check some of your other notes, of your other chords. Okay, and you'll see C and then the lowercase m. Okay, let's try E flat minor. Here we go. We'll just do one more example for this because I think you kind of get the idea. We're going to count 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We now have an E flat minor chord. Okay, you'll see E flat with a lowercase m. And that's how we find minors. Again, practice all of them. Practice all of them. Any letter that you can say. G minor, practice it. C sharp minor, practice it. B flat minor, practice it. Learn them because you'll see them in music, okay? Now, let's go ahead and learn some of the sevenths, okay? I've talked about at the beginning. We're going to learn major seventh, minor seventh, and then what we call a dominant seventh, okay? Let's start with our major seventh first and what it means. First thing we need to do is we need to learn one more interval. One more interval type, I should say. We're going to learn major seventh and minor seventh really, really fast here. Let's say we have a C. Now, major and minor seventh, these are types of intervals, and that's the distance between two notes, okay? Seventh, we're going to start with the major seventh first. Major seventh, what we're going to do is we're going to pick a note, whatever, let's say we're doing a chord, right? The name of the chord. So if it was C major, we're going to do C. We're going to find the octave, which means the same note, 8 notes apart, oct, meaning 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, they're the same pitch, right? Just an octave up higher. Major seventh, we're going to lower the octave by a half step, lowering the C by a half step. Now I have what we call a major seventh, okay? Let's say I had some sort of B flat major seventh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find B flat, I'm going to find the octave, and then I'm going to lower that octave by a half step. I have my major seventh. Let's pick another chord, G. I'm going to take my I'm going to take my octave and I'm going to lower it by a half step. I have my major seventh now. Minor seventh, this is going to be based on the same thing. We're going to find the octave, but now minor seventh, we're going to lower it by a whole step. Here we go. Let's do C. Minor seventh, we're going to take that octave and lower it by a whole step. Now we have a minor seventh. Let's do a couple more very quickly. Let's go to E flat. Find your E flat on your keyboard. Okay. Go to the octave. And we're going to lower that by 2 half steps. 1, 2. This is our minor seventh above our E flat. In this case, it would be D flat. Okay. One more, just for example. F sharp, let's use F sharp. We're going to find the octave, and we're going to go down from minor seventh, we're going to go down a whole step. So we're going to go down 1, 2, and that gives us our minor seventh. Okay, so practice these. Again, you're going to want to practice these quite a bit because now what we're going to do is we're going to put it all together. Now we're going to understand, okay, what does it mean when it says C major seventh? We're going to learn what that means right now. C, major seventh. When it says major seventh, and what you'll see, and I'll put it up here so you see, you'll see the letter C, and then you'll see a capital M, 7. This means C major seventh. Now, major seventh, what that means, it means major chord plus the major seventh. So when you see a C major 7, you know you're going to have a major chord, a C major chord, and then you're going to add that major seventh. So C major 7, major chord. We're going to remember 4 then 3 for the major chords. And again, I bring up the half steps because I want you to practice the counting. Okay, even if you know C chord, you might not know some of these other chords. So use the counting. So C major, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. And then count another 3. Right now, we've just created our major chord, C major chord, and I said C major 7, so what we're going to do, we're going to create that major 7, so I found the octave, and I lowered it now by a half step. Remember, major 7, we're going to lower it by the half step, lower the octave by half step. I've now created my C major 7 chord. Okay? And if it doesn't make sense, go rewind back to where that major 7th section is. Remember, we're just going to the octave and lowering it. That's how you create a major 7th. Okay. Now, let's pick another chord. Let's do F major 7. Remember, when you have major 7, we're going to have a major chord plus the major 7. So F major chord, we're going to count 4 and then 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I have my F major chord, and now I just need that major 7th above. There's our octave, lowered by a half step. Now I have my F major 7, F, A, C, and E. And I've created it just by counting half steps. Okay, let's pick another one just to solidify it a little bit better. Let's go ahead and do A major 7. This is going to be the last one. We're going to count up. Remember, major, 4, and 5. 4 and then 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Created our major chord, major 7th. There's our A octave, lowered by a half step. I now have my A major 7 chord. A, C sharp, E, and G sharp. Okay, very important to memorize this. Practice again. There's 12 notes between an octave. Practice all 12. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the dominant 7 chord. Okay, we're not going to talk about how it functions, but what you'll see is you'll just see the letter, whatever it is. We'll talk about it in C. You'll see the letter C, and then you'll just see the number 7. C7 is the same thing as the C dominant 7. Okay, and just again, when you see it in music, it'll just say C7. Okay, so what this means is you're going to play a C, you're going to play a major chord plus the minor 7th. When you had a major 7, a major chord, major 7. Dominant, we're going to have a major chord and then a minor 7th. So C, major chord, counting 4 then 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. We should already have seen this already, what a C major chord is. Now, plus the minor 7th. Go to the octave, and now, again, minor 7th down a whole step. 1, 2. Now we have a C dominant 7. C major chord plus the minor 7. C, E, G, and our B flat. Okay, let's give one more example, and then we're going to get into the minor 7th. Okay, again, practice these. A little bit tough if it's your first time. Okay, let's do A flat 7. Okay, you just see the 7, so major chord plus minor 7. Let's build that major chord from A flat. Okay, here we go. 4 and then 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half steps. And then 3. 1, 2, 3. We have now created our major chord, A flat, C, and E flat. Okay, now the minor, because we're doing 7, we need the minor 7th above that. So A flat, find our octave, and then count down 2 half steps. 1, 2. Our A flat major chord is going to be A flat, C, E flat, and then G flat. Okay, and you notice the sound's a little bit different than that major sound, but practice these, okay? Again, 7, major chord, plus minor 7. Okay, last but not least is our minor 7 chord, okay? Now, when we had a major 7 chord, we had major 7 plus, major chord plus major 7, okay? Minor chord, they're both just going to be minor. You're going to have a minor chord plus a minor 7th. So let's base this in C. And what you'll see is you'll see a C, a lowercase m, and then a 7. That indicates minor. That lowercase m always indicates minor. Okay? C. Let's build our minor first. So we need to go 3 half steps and then 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we've created our minor chord. We need to add that minor 7. Go to the octave, which we're in C, right? So C major, minor 7. C. Let's go down 1, 2. That is our minor 7th. C, E flat. Okay? Notice the 7th is actually still the same as when we did our dominant 7th. The only difference is a dominant 7, a C7, is the major chord plus a minor 7. Minor 7 is a minor chord plus a minor 7th. Okay, let's do one more example of this. Let's do 2 more examples of this. Let's do A minor 7. Let's build the minor chord first. 3 and then 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Created our minor chord. Now we just need to add that minor 7. Find the octave of A. Count down 2 half steps. 1, 2. Now we have our minor 7 chord. A minor 7. Okay? I'm going to name out a couple, and I want you to just practice this at home. I'm gonna say a couple. Take the time to pause it and see if you get the answer. Let's try a couple of these 7th chords. So what I want you to do at home is I want you to go ahead and find me a D major 7th. So before you pause it, D major 7, which means we're gonna have a major 7 and a major chord. Okay, so pause, figure it out. Okay. Hopefully you paused it and you tried it. I'm going to go ahead and play it for you. What you should have did is had a major chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Plus a major 7th. Half step below the octave. You should have gotten this pattern. D, F sharp, A, and C sharp. Okay, I'm going to give you one more of each. So let's do a B7. Okay, so it's just B and then the number 7. Before you pause again, major chord, minor 7. Pause it, okay? Figure it out. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go on. B7, we're going to find the major chord. So again, 4 and then 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3. Remember, 7 means major chord, minor 7. Octave, 1, 2. Here's our B7. We should have B, D sharp, F sharp, and A. One more example with minor 7. Go ahead and remember, minor 7, minor chord, minor 7. Go ahead, do E flat minor 7. Go ahead and pause it. Give it a try. Okay, good. We're going to start on E flat. Remember, minor. So minor chord, minor 7, minor. We're going to count 3 and then 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have our minor chord, minor 7th, octave from E flat. Count down 2. 1, 2. We now have our E flat, minor 7, E flat, G flat, B flat, and D flat. Very good. Not everything's going to have a 7th. It might just say E flat minor, and I taught you at the beginning how to find that E flat minor, and I just did it over again, right? Minor, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So you don't have to always use the 7ths. Not all chords are going to have the 7ths, but I wanted to give you the tips to figure these out on your own. If you do come across a good lead sheet or chord chart that you want to try to play through, but you're not exactly sure how to figure out what notes are in the chord, I've just taught you a lot of the basics for these chords. Major, minor, major 7, dominant 7th, and minor 7th. Okay. If you check out my website, backtothebasics.com, I do actually have videos kind of going over some of these chords, talking within a certain key, and then we can kind of play through them kind of with a chord chart, and I teach you the chords, and you kind of learn kind of a chord chart to maybe some of your favorite songs. Some things like Ed Sheeran, Sam Smith, stuff like that. So go check out the website if you want to learn more about these chords. I will be doing more videos about chords, especially getting into inversions. We couldn't do that today. There's just a lot that goes into inversions of 7th chords because there's so many different types of inversions for all these 7th chords. So we'll go over those in another video. To make sure that you guys are updated and keep up to date with these, make sure you do hit the subscribe button. Okay. Also, make sure you hit that little notification bell. That's going to be the thing that alerts you that I've just released a new video, and maybe it'll be that video that you will be looking for. Also, make sure hit that big thumbs up and like the video. Okay, thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you guys next time.